Get ready to stand on guard for the
Prohibition is over, Saskatchewan. Ask Lucky Bastard today how you can make Canada's ultimate Caesar, True North and Strong. Featuring Lucky Bastard's premium dill pickle vodka, LB's famous bacon rimmer, and bacon bitters. It's not a Caesar if it's not Lucky Bastard. Order online or stop by 814 47th Street East. And tonight, why not mix your Caesar with some Lucky Bastard?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast, a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock, your number one source for fantasy hockey intelligence. I'm Devin Davidson, your host. With me, as always, Bruce Gunther.
Good evening.
John Enns, surprisingly.
Howdy.
And Mike McLaughlin from Left Wing Lock. Mike, how are you?
Doing fine. Glad to be here.
I'm going to be honest. We were just talking a second off air here. What were you guys talking about? What happened in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia recently? What is this water situation you guys are talking about? Did I miss something?
You want to explain it, Mike? I read the headlines or don't want to even go there, do we?
I was like, don't look at me.
No, you guys. I had no idea what you were talking about. So
Me neither.
maybe this is an after hours conversation.
Just give me a second here, see if I can just find it.
Who's shit in the water?
So someone took a really big dump in the water.
Ooh. Whoops.
Let's see here.
It's always good. It's always good when your city officials recommend that you drink bottled water.
Oh, jeez. Put it that way. Okay. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I found it here. So, this is the city of Philadelphia is now confident that the tap water from the water treatment plant will be safe to drink till at least midnight Monday following a chemical spill in the Delaware River.
Oh boy.
I don't know if it says here where the spill came from. Oh, here, Bristol Township, Bucks County released. Yeah, it doesn't say what exactly it was spilt into there, but
Don't worry, it's okay to drink.
till tomorrow night, and then after that, you could be screwed.
Totally fine.
Mike will be on next week. You have like 3 eyes or something.
Oh man. Okay, well, I totally threw us off track 30 seconds into the show, but here we are, episode 107, NHL Fantasy Preview for Week 25. This episode, of course, as always, is brought to you by Lucky Bastard Distillers, which opened in 2012 and was inspired from a lottery win. Lucky Bastard is proud to be the first distillery to operate in Saskatoon since Prohibition, home of Canada's ultimate Caesar. Mix your drink tonight with Lucky Bastard. Use promo code HockeyHacks to get 15% off your next online order. Shipping available across Canada. And I promise I'm drinking coffee right now, not vodka, which may have sounded like a second ago. But okay, so yeah, it's fantasy hockey playoffs. I think the first thing we need to address here is Tyler's defeat in the opening round of the Timu Salami League, Bruce.
Oh, man. I guess that's what happens when you go on vacation and don't check your fantasy team till like Friday during playoffs.
Yeah, and still makes up some ground, surprisingly.
Yeah, he's only 26 points behind here going into the last game, but I think he only has one player.
Make that up, right?
So he has one player left. That's Kyrou. Oh no, yeah, Kyrou, because he left Dursey on the bench. So Kairou's going to have the game of his life tonight for Tyler to win.
Interesting. So yeah, going into today or this week, Tyler was favored, I think, to probably win this, Bruce.
Heavily favored.
He had just edged me to finish first in the regular season.
So did he rig the league again?
Not that I saw.
Not this year he didn't. No, he legitimately he drafted a good team. He took the goalie. Don't laugh at that. So I had drafted Carter Hart. I dropped Carter Hart. He picked him up and then traded him to one of his friends for Adam Fox. But this is when Hart, this was the beginning of the season when Hart was on fire, right? Philly was doing really, really well. So, and then shortly after he traded him, the wheels fell off and they lost a bunch of games. So that was peak Carter Hart when he made the trade. So it could have been legitimately a legitimate trade. Like that's
pretty
he's
funny.
just, his team has been great all season.
Yeah, I think he finished 16-5. So probably the best season I've seen from Tyler in the 8 years we've been in this league together.
Yeah.
So that's too bad that he didn't set his lineup and he's done now, but it happens.
Yeah.
I have to check, Bruce. I really hope that we reseed into the next round. Otherwise, you and I are going to be in the semifinals, and I don't like my chances so much. So I'd rather see you in the final instead of the semifinal, but we'll see.
I gotta find some wood to knock on. My team has been doing really well the past couple of weeks. So,
but this is just classic Bruce. You kind of the rope-a-dope thing. You just wait until the last 4 weeks of the season, then you just crush everybody.
Oh, that's okay. All I have to do is ask Mike about Nick Suzuki, and he's going to pretty much tell me how his fantasy value is going to crater here over the next week.
Well,
because he's been literally on fire this week, and that's one of the reasons why I'm winning.
Okay, well, maybe let's jump ahead here then on that note, Bruce. So actually, fantasy lock of the week is Nick Suzuki, presented by Left Wing Lock. So 8 points, 2 goals, 2 power play points, 8 shots on goal, but +5 and just over 19 minutes time on ice in 3 games this past week.
It has been very, very nice to see.
Yeah, not too bad.
I grudgingly held on to him. It's like, because Mike had said a number, they get rid of him, trade him, and something like, there's really, I look at the waiver wire and it's like, there's really no one better there that I could really pick up over the long term. So I'll just ride it out, right? And then all of a sudden, this past week and even last week, he's been putting up some points. All since Doc came back, basically, he's been
nice.
Yeah, and Doc's actually looked pretty good here recently too.
Yeah, so I can't complain. It's just that my team is so it's so hot, or either it's super hot or ice cold. So next week I could totally flame right out and be done with 99 points. It's just the way my team rolls this year.
I don't think so. I think this is the year, Bruce. I think you're this will be it. Yep.
I'm not planning any parade anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
And then you can take those winnings and beef up your podcast setup.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Well, we had a conversation about Bruce's mic stand. That's all.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof. John, you're here tonight, so should we talk about John's list?
I like your pick.
Okay, so for those of you that have not listened to the show before, John's list is just John's shit list of players past and present and interesting topics from around the hockey world. This week,
This one's definitely present.
Okay, you go for it. You obviously saw what I was talking about, so take it away.
Yeah, this week's member of the list, Blake Lizotte. You're trash. Dirty cross check to the face of Josh Morrissey. No reason for it. Right in front of the ref. Like, give your head a shake, man.
He didn't even try and hide it. He actually went out of his way to do it.
Yep.
Like that wasn't even.
One game is too little.
No,
Agreed.
like if that would have been something in the heat of the moment, but literally, he was skating the different direction. He turned around and went after him to do that.
He did.
That should be worth more than one game.
And it was really nothing from Morrissey's perspective. Like, he kind of gave him a tap on the leg. It wasn't much, in my opinion. And like you said,
He gave him a pretty good tap on the leg, but even still, it's like
it didn't warrant what
dude,
he did. Yeah.
Like, you're gonna play hockey. Like stuff like this is gonna happen if you're gonna stay on the ice. You're gonna get battles and stuff like that. But that's just,
No, Lizotte's a bit of a clown. I've seen him do some goofy things here over the last season or two.
Oh, I got one more member of the list.
What do you got for us?
I got Connor Bedard for not putting up any points when I went to go watch him. WTF, man.
Well, get your tickets now because the Blades and the Pats are meeting in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's too many people for me. I don't like people.
Yeah. Can I watch it on TV? TSN? Maybe?
Ooh.
Or Sportsnet?
I bet you can.
Yeah.
It'll be TSN Plus.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'd rather just sit at home and watch it on TSN Plus. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there's too many people, like the 14,700 and some.
Plus, I got to drive an hour to get there, so yeah. And then speaking of cross checks, who was it this week? Somebody hit Mike Hoffman. The similar play. I can't remember who it was. You guys see that play?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
I saw Hoffman's face, but I don't remember who did it.
Yeah, and then Hoffman was up in arms too. He's saying he's got more games for less, so he was pretty pissy with player safety. But judging by his face, I'd be a little upset too. So, all right, so that'll do it for John's list and for Fantasy Lock of the Week. Bruce, we got a couple things here for headlines. I'm going to be totally honest. I haven't looked at what you got here. I dropped the ball a bit too because I was traveling this weekend, and so if the notes are not up to snuff for anyone listening, you can just go to leftwinglock.com and check out the news feed there, and all your information will be available. Right, Mike? leftwinglock.com/news.
That's a good spot.
Okay.
I was just a second ago, and I looked up AJ Greer is the guy that cross-checked Mike Hoffman.
There you go.
All right, he got a game for that too, did he not?
He got one game, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, Bruce, I'll hand it over to you. Headlines with the Hacks.
All right, so we'll start with some injury news. So we found out here earlier in the week that Patrick Laine is going to be out 2 to 4 weeks with a strained tricep. That just about takes him, well, that pretty much takes him out of fantasy playoffs, so he's basically droppable at this point. Riley Smith suffered an injury on Thursday. He did not play Saturday versus the Oilers. Logan Thompson was also injured on Thursday and did not play on Saturday. That was Laurent Brossoit, who made some pretty spectacular saves in that game, I might add. Jacob Chikrin is out for the next couple of weeks with a lower body injury. If there was any debate on the Chikrin versus Ekholm debate, I guess if there was a debate, it's pretty much put to bed that Ekholm was the right one. And after watching him live Saturday night, wow. Ekholm was really good too, even though the forwards hung him out to dry in overtime. But,
yeah, that was rough. That was a rough way to lose that game.
Yeah.
And Skinner still on that goal
got it.
Made a phenomenal first save, right? He saved that with his shoulder, and then because the guy had 8 minutes to score a goal by himself in front of the net, he scored on the second attempt. But holy moly! On that note, though, Bruce, how was the game? Like it was your first game at Rogers Place, right?
Oh, it was incredible. Like we were up near the top, but it didn't matter. Like you have a clear line of sight of the entire rink. Like you don't even notice the people sitting in front of you in the stands. You got a clear line of sight of the entire ice. It's well, the pictures I took don't do it justice. Really, it just doesn't. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Well, and the thing about watching the game up higher too is you can view the entire ice surface and watch the play develop. And probably to your point that you had texted me about, you can't really appreciate how good 97 and 29 are until you see them live, right?
Only you watch Big David, like on TV, they just follow the puck, so you can watch the guys on the ice when they're on there without following a camera, right? And just like that first goal for Hyman there, just to watch that develop, that was holy cow! Like that was even the second one that Draisaitl scored. That was just watching them develop. It's the motion and everything they do, but even and give Vegas some credit. Vegas wanted this game a lot more than Edmonton did. At least that's the way it looked live anyway. Vegas was shooting that goal that Marchessault scored to take the lead. I don't know what the Oilers were really thinking on that play. But no one was expecting Marchessault to shoot. Even Skinner wasn't, because Skinner looked stunned that puck was coming.
He got it off his stick pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Real quick. Because there was... Marchessault probably could have ordered lunch and had lunch there before anyone would have got to him. He was wide open. There was nobody close to him.
That was a classic fantasy case for me where I have Marchessault on my fantasy roster, so I was a little less upset that he scored.
But yeah, it just... But yeah, beautiful building. Game was incredible. It was... awesome.
Well, glad you enjoyed it, Bruce. I agree. At this point, there's no debate anymore. Chychrun versus Ekholm. And that was always a concern. I know Tyler mentioned a couple times too. If Chychrun had come to the Oilers, there's potential he's injured for the playoffs anyway. So I think everyone is just really, really happy with Ekholm at this point.
Well, and everyone was expecting just the defensive side of it, right? Which he is really good. But offensively too, he's got a bunch of points here too since he's joined the Oilers, and he is not afraid to get into the play either.
No, not at all.
Like with him and Bouchard together, they make a nice pair, the two of them. They work very well together. Very well together, the two of them.
No, they've made a great pair. And he's playing like 90-some% power play share right now.
Yeah. And he didn't destroy any shin pads when he was in Saturday night's game either.
No, he's looked a lot better.
I don't think he hit one shin pad.
But you know what? It kind of goes back to what you had mentioned, Bruce, a while ago, and that was just the calming presence of a veteran defenseman, right? So having Duncan Keith paired with Bouchard actually helped him a lot in his development. And then when Keith was gone, he's trying to scramble with some of these other guys, and it just doesn't seem to be working, right? So great that they found that for Bouchard again.
No, and Ekholm is not afraid to get into the play whatsoever.
No,
not at all. That's fantastic to see.
Yep. All right, what else you got for us, Bruce?
All right, another one here. So Matt Duchene is week to week with an upper body injury. So basically, I think Nashville is fielding an AHL team at this point. I don't know if there's any veterans left on that team other than Saros. I guess Tyson Barrie, because Yossi's out.
Tyson Barrie's actually been quite productive of late.
I have him a little farther down in the list here. He has 6 points in the 4 games that Yossi has been out.
Yeah. So I don't know what his percentage of ownership is right now, but
probably owners will be happy.
Yeah, for anyone that's holding him.
Absolutely. Let's see what else we have here. So there's some other injuries to watch. So John Carlson made his return to the Capitals, immediately making Rasmus Sandin fantasy irrelevant, which is pretty accurate. Although watching Sandin play for the Capitals, you kind of make you wonder what the Leafs were doing to him, because he looks like he's playing a lot better for the Capitals than he ever did for the Leafs.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Mike, you could probably answer this more than I could, but deployment, I'm guessing, and just he kind of got buried in the bottom pair there.
Oh, in Toronto?
Yeah, in Toronto.
Yeah. He never was any higher than the third pairing.
Yeah. And I didn't expect it to happen that. Like, I know we talked about it last week, and I said keep an eye on Sandin because there's potential for Carlson to come back. But they just pretty much threw Carlson right back into his role and said, Sandin, thanks for your service. See you later. So I ended up dropping Sandin this week because I had him on. He'd been fantastic until Carlson came back.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of trouble because he's already a low volume shooter kind of guy, and so once he loses 1 PP, it's not great.
No. Klingberg, I don't know. Did we talk about Klingberg or was that in the notes, Bruce? But Klingberg has actually missed the last couple games here for Minnesota as well.
I didn't have it in the list, but I did see that. Yeah, he's missed the last couple of games. Addison has been back in.
Okay,
Klingberg has been out.
Yeah, probably worth noting. And then Boston, what was going on today with Marchand and Bergeron? Were both of them out?
Marchand, Bergeron, and Lindholm, all 3 sat out. I mean, they talked I think not Cassidy. That's Vegas now. Montgomery said that they all were harboring nagging injuries. I just read it as rest, basically.
Load management.
Yeah.
Welcome to the NHL.
Probably a good time to sit him. All right.
They still won today, did they
what
not?
Else?
They did win, yeah. Against Carolina, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4-3 in a shootout, I think.
That's all right, though. If you can sit those guys and still... That's good.
Pasta scored twice. I was happy with that.
Beat Carolina in Raleigh, by the way.
Oh, wow. That is good.
Sorry, Bruce. Since we're on that topic
Yeah.
of the Hurricanes, I had in here we should talk about Jesse Puljujärvi because I don't want to nag on the guy, but for any Oilers fans listening that have been pro Puljujärvi, to a fault, he has 0 points in 8 games for the Hurricanes, and he was actually a healthy scratch in the first 5 games he was eligible to play for the Hurricanes. So, I mean, as Oilers fans, can we just kind of move on from Puljujärvi now? Like, are we? It's done. It is what it is.
No, they're not going to move on. They're not. This isn't going to happen. They're not.
Well, they should. It's funny because I see guys on Twitter that are, as Tyler calls them, the wowies, right? So they'll throw out all the fancy stats to say, "Wow, like his expected goals, he's leading the team in expected goals," or
Birds.
I appreciate the reference. But you know what? At a certain point, like things like goals, assists, and points actually matter, right? And you need to put those up. So I don't really care about his advanced analytics anymore. I want to see the guy produce some points, and he's just not there. Like he's had plenty of opportunities.
I think in his first game too, I think he made a pass that almost got one of his teammates killed.
Yeah.
And he's going to be 25, like in April, I think, right? Like next month or this spring at least. He'll turn 25.
Yeah, we're not talking about a 19-year-old kid trying to make it, right?
I mean, 25 is not a great age to be in the NHL if you haven't already shown something.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's enough of me ranting about that, Bruce.
Okay.
What else we got for news?
Other things we got here. So Cam Talbot returned to practice on Sunday. I think they're still sticking to the time frame for when he'll return to the lineup, but it was a positive sign to see him there. Other news. So Devin Levi was at practice this morning, Friday morning with the Sabres. So that gives them now 4 goalies they can choose from. So that's awesome. You can play goaltender roulette with them.
What's funny about him is he's going to get some starts. That was already mentioned by the coach. And guess which fantasy system does not have him in their service yet?
Yahoo.
I've been getting tons of questions about that. Like, why isn't he in Yahoo? I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, they haven't even added Nestorenko yet, and he's already played 2 or 3 games for Anaheim.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Yikes. Anyway, Akara Schmid, is that his name?
Sure.
New Jersey Devils was assigned AHL for anyone that was streaming the player. Mackenzie Blackwood returned to the lineup and started the other night.
Oh, that made me real nervous, Bruce.
Yeah,
I was kind of banking on Vanacek to put up some points for me, and Taylor and I were separated by 5 points at the end of last night's games.
I know. I was watching.
I could have used that extra 5 points. Damn it.
I was watching my own. So, and just some breaking news here before the podcast: the Calgary Flames signed their 2021 draft pick Matthew Coronado to a 3-year entry-level contract. Flames fans are now going to put all their hopes in Coronado leading them to the playoffs this season. Like they have a chance.
Right.
But I just thought that was interesting. And the aforementioned note about Tyson Barrie. That was basically it that I had for news. Got a couple items here under the talking points. So the first one, I read that and I had to go, holy crap, where did he go this season? So we're talking about Brian Rust. So what the hell happened to Brian Rust this season? I replied, who's Brian Rust? Because that's pretty much, I haven't heard about him in a long, long time. I don't know what happened to him, but he has evaporated this season.
Yeah, we had a question about Brian Rust earlier in the season. Like, do I drop this guy? Do I drop? And my response at the time was no. Like when I looked at his underlying numbers, the regression meter, Mike, like he looked like he should bounce back. And at that time, I haven't followed his numbers really closely since, but he was still getting the deployment with Sid. He was still getting time on Power Play 1. I know that's changed a bit now. I think he's getting Power Play 2 time because they've got Raquel on Power Play 1.
That's right.
But Yeah, like so, Mike. Do you have any explanation for what the hell happened to Brian Rust this season?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at his data, in advance of the show tonight, and I saw a couple of things that stick out. One that's a little bit worrisome is that his shot production is down to 2.6 per game this season. It was 3.0 last year. That might just be an artifact of the lower power play time on ice. Last season, he was averaging 3.44 minutes of power play time per game. This season, it's just 2.2.
Yeah.
So big drop off there, over a full minute less on the power play per game. So that's a big deal. The other thing, though, is that his shooting percentage is way down this year. It was a little bit over 13% last season. This year, it's just 8.5.
Yeah, that's a drop.
So you've got less power play time, leading to fewer shots, and then just a gnarly shooting percentage of just 8.5%. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. I mean, it's not really a great answer, but it sheds a little bit of light on what's going on.
No, it's something for sure. Like he's a career 12% shooter, 12.2%. So
yeah, I mean, so that's a 50%. That's a big
significant.
Drop.
Yeah. I was just looking at his notes here. His last few games, actually, he's 6, 3, 5, and 3 are the shots he's thrown on goal the last 4 games. So, like that's good shot volume.
Yeah, that is.
Whether or not that continues, we'll see. But I mean, they're pushing for a playoff spot, and I've always said, just anecdotally, I like players from bubble teams this time of year. So he seems to be, his give a shit meter maybe picked up a little bit here recently. But other than that, I don't know. So for next year, is this a guy that you're gonna avoid, or do you guys expect to bounce back for next season?
I mean, he's not that old. He's going to be 31 later this spring.
Yep.
So, a drop to 8.5% on a shooting percentage that just seems like bad luck to me.
Yeah, I can buy that.
I'd be a little bit worried about the power play deployment. So, keep that in mind. But I would surely expect that shooting percentage to come back.
Okay. All right. What else do you want to talk about, Bruce? We got a couple other things here.
Next thing we had on the list here is Alex Ovechkin set an NHL record with 13 40-goal seasons, eclipsing Wayne Gretzky's record of 12. So is it just now a foregone conclusion that he's going to pass Gretzky for the goal record in some point here in the next couple of years?
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
He's not retiring until he does.
Yeah. At this point, that is Ovi's mission. He doesn't care about even winning games. He just wants to go out and score on the power play from his office, score some empty netters, hang out with Putin, whatever. He's just he no longer cares about what happens to that team long term, right? It's just a matter of him breaking that record. And I said to my brother, we were having some beers last night, and I said he's going to score 808, and then just hang up his skates. just put like 808, right? Just put a cool number on it and be done, because that's it. That's all. But that's, I mean, I think someone said he's 75 short of Gretzky right now. I don't know if that's don't quote me on that, but if that's the number, roughly 75 goals. Let's say he's going to get 40-ish maybe next season. I'm assuming he's healthy. So he's going to take at least another, probably like close to 2 seasons to break that record. Assuming he can stay healthy and his team doesn't crumble around him.
And I think if he was playing with an AHL team around him, I think he'd still find a way to score 40 goals.
Yeah.
He's going to play 100% power play share for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons, whatever it takes to break that record. Like he's just, that'll be it.
Just go stand over there. We'll pass you the puck. Do what you do. That's pretty much all it'll take.
Sorry, Bruce. This next one brings me a lot of joy. Can we talk about this next point?
Absolutely. So next point on here, we've got Connor McDavid scored his 60th goal of the season in 72 games, one fewer than Austin Matthews last year. Two absolutely world-class passes from Leon Draisaitl.
That's it. That's all. That's the story.
That's it. That's the story. That's it.
Well, no, I mean, you guys watched that game, right? For the plays, those two passes in overtime from Draisaitl, and John, even you have to appreciate those. Come on. Like,
No.
most players don't make a pass that good on their forehand, and Draisaitl did it on his backhand in overtime with somebody on his back, and then fought off two defenders in the offensive zone to get the puck back and send McDavid on his second consecutive breakaway. And then he scored using the same move that he missed on the first time.
I just love how angry he was after he missed the first one.
Yeah, they kept saying, "Oh, I can't believe he didn't break his stick," or "He's lucky he didn't break his stick." And yeah, fair enough, because Connor was pretty pissed.
He almost did.
But anyway, it's just great to see him do it. First Oilers since Gretzky in 86, 87, I believe, to score 60. He's got a ways to go to tie Gretzky, because Gretzky scored 65 times. So I don't think we'll see 4 more from Connor, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but Matthews only needs 4 for 40, so.
Oh my God! So there's a joke going around. Someone actually checked TSN the next morning to see what the top story was, and it had nothing to do with Connor. I can't even remember what it was. It was just a very obscure story. So TSN just doesn't care about what Connor does. But
No.
So okay, my question. We talked about this a few weeks back. What does Connor finish with? He's got whatever his 9 games left. Can he hit 70? Is that possible at this point?
Yeah, I think it is.
And I should look. I don't know what his schedule is here.
They've got Anaheim and Vegas are their next 2 games.
If I recall,
Or
it's
Anaheim,
fairly favorable.
Arizona and Vegas, sorry.
Here, I'm going to pull it up. So, yeah, Arizona, Vegas, LA, Anaheim, and then LA, Anaheim, San Jose, Colorado, San Jose.
It's possible.
Like, if he's got 2 games against the Ducks and 2 games against the Sharks, I don't know. They're going to push hard. Like, and Connor's going to be out there for every empty net opportunity, too. So,
Oh, yeah, they'll be feeding him if the game is in the bag, they'll be feeding him as much as possible to get him there.
because who's the last person to score 70?
Timu?
Timu Solani. No, I don't know.
I'm gonna Google that.
70s. Wow.
70 is a lot of goals. It's a lot of goals.
Play some Jeopardy music while we're checking the stat.
Yeah, you can move on to the next point, Bruce. I'll see if I can find that.
All right, so next one on the list here, David Pastrnak scored 2 goals here today on Sunday, becoming the first Bruin to score 50 goals since Cam Neely in 1993-94 season.
Pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
You know, Bruce, on your notes here, you brought up these goal scorers tonight. You know, Ovechkin got 40, McDavid got 60, Pastrnak has 50.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking. I was like, I'm going to look at I'm going to look at save percentage real quick for the season. Because we know over the past few years that save percentage has dropped. And I believe it was a direct result of the change in the goalie equipment.
Right.
You can see it drop off. Like if you look at the data tables year after year, right around 2018 is when it just starts to really dive. What's weird is that it stabilized for a few years. Like, it dropped because of the equipment, but then it kind of stabilized. And the league average save percentage at even strength was sitting at about 914. This year, it's at 912. So there's a couple things going on. Not only are there more power plays this season, which there are, goalies are worse at even strength than they've ever been. No, not ever. I mean, in the modern era, our era, basically.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Like, why do goalies suck? It's really weird.
Good question.
Like has something fundamentally changed in the game that I'm not seeing?
Well, there's no more trap hockey. Like the dead puck era, right, occurred in the early 2000s.
Sure, but I mean like this season compared to like say just a year or two ago.
Nothing I'm aware of. I don't
Oh, and
know.
actually, one goal scorer we didn't put on here. Did Jack Hughes not hit 40 goals today? Yesterday?
He did. And it was nice.
It was a beautiful play, too, that he did. He walked through pretty much an entire team to do it.
Yeah, but to go back to your point, Mike, I don't know. There's nothing that sticks out to me that says fundamentally the game has changed in the last 2 seasons for that to occur.
Yeah, it's very strange. Because I mean, the higher goal scoring makes sense when you realize there's more power plays. Like that's just obvious. That has to happen. But why is the even strength save percentage dropping? I don't understand. I don't know why.
Our coach is finally finding a way to get around some of the defensive structures that are put in place now that they can't hook and grab and trap and stuff like that. Our team is now finally. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, I just threw in the cross check at the end there.
Oh, cross check. Like our coaches, like other teams, finally figuring out the ways around these, and like you look at the guys we mentioned here. Look at Carlson. Look at the season he's had. He's like some of these players are putting up some ridiculous points. Josh Morrissey's another one. Like it's
going to be really important. I think, like especially for fantasy hockey managers to understand, like, is this new? Like this new goal scoring, is this going to stick around?
Yeah.
Because if the league save percentage is going to stick at this value, that means individual players' shooting percentages are going to be higher than, say, their 3-year averages.
Well, and then that's going to change your draft strategy in terms of goaltenders too, because if you know the save percentage is going to be lower, you're going to probably reach for those stud goaltenders potentially, or you're going to just wait until later in the draft to grab someone for goal. Like maybe 0G becomes more prominent for that reason. I don't know.
And with more coaches like not giving starts to their starting goalie.
Yeah.
It's becoming a mess. Goaltending in fantasy hockey is becoming a huge mess.
Yeah, agreed.
I miss the days of just blindly drafting Mika Kiprasov and letting him start 70 games,
and just sit back and love life. Like,
yeah.
I look at my roster right now this year, Mike. I traded for Connor Hellebuck. I picked Vanacek up off waivers at some point in the season. I drafted Tristan Jarry. And I was sitting there for 2 straight weeks just going, my goaltending is absolute dog shit. Like I was losing. I think I lost 2 straight weeks just based on goaltending. And I'm still kind of struggling with goaltending, right? Like this was a tight week for me, and Hellebuck fell on his face yesterday, and Jarry was injured again, and Vanacek didn't play because they started Blackwood, who just came off IR. Like it's just, I would have thought with those 3 goaltenders you're looking good, but that's not the case. And so I agree with you. Goaltending is a mess right now.
Well, even for my 2 teams, so I went like extreme 0G this year on both of my teams. My Yahoo team here, I'm gonna most likely bow out here tonight because I've got 2 St. Louis players and 2 LA players, and I'm not out. Like the categories are really, really close. Like it's 1s and 2s, but I can't see the guys making up enough difference to shift it, and I won't lose because of my goaltending. It'll be my other players. I just didn't have good enough wingers and defensemen to bring our categories up, but it won't be my goaltending. It won't be the reason why I lost this season. And on my other team, I picked up Demko late in the season when somebody dropped him because he re-aggravated his injury, so they thought he was going to be out longer, and turns out he wasn't no more than a few days longer. Picked up Gustafson, who's been the Wild have been riding lately, and then I've been using whatever Leafs goalie was active because I got those guys in the last. What I picked them up in the 17th, 18th round.
Last 2 rounds,
almost
yeah.
the last 2 rounds of the draft. No one wanted them, so I took them.
Yep.
Like So it's
I
middle
dro-
of the season. If you would ask me, I would have told you I'm not doing this again next season. But now looking at this, I may very well do this again next year because it's actually working out quite well for me. So
You're welcome for Gustafson, by the way.
yes, thank you.
Hey, really quick, going back to our earlier point about who was the last player to score 70 goals in a season. It was Brett Hull in 1991-92. Last guy to score 70.
Was that when he was with Dallas?
I don't have a team listed here.
Okay, just the year.
Yeah, just
What
the
year
year.
what year did McGillney do it?
Here, let me go back to this. It's not. Alexander McGillney, 92-93, had 76 goals. Oh, is that what that? Yeah.
Is that same year as Timu?
Timu.
No, I'm spitballing.
Oh, I don't know. I won't dig through that. We can look at it after.
Cool.
Okay, there's a couple of things I want to touch on too, Bruce, was the NHL player poll. So that was kind of fun. I think those are interesting, and the reason I like these is because I was talking with my brother and a couple people last night. The players are the first ones to know, right? So this is particularly interesting, and this is like with the some of the awards. Like the players care about the award that's voted on by the players more than they do about the GMs or the media or anything like that, right? So if you need to win one game, which goalie do you want on your team? And Vasilevsky was the overwhelming favorite still at 52%.
Yeah. Until someone can supplant him, it's pretty hard to take his resume and question it.
So, and then the other guys that were on that list were Shesterkin, Marc-Andre Fleury, which I thought was interesting. He was at 4%. He was actually the third most. And then that was followed by Hellebuck at 3.5% and Sorokin at 3.2%. So, in a must-win game, which forward do you think would be the most impactful? It was Connor at nearly 60%. Then Sid at 11%, McKinnon at 8.4%, Kucherov at 2.3%, then Bergeron, and then Matthews at 1%.
And no mention of Draisaitl at all.
No, honestly, I know, John, you don't agree with me, but that guy does not get enough respect around the league. Like, the guy's 115 points, and no one even mentions his name. Like,
There's
He
a
had a
reason for
better-
that.
Last night in that game against Vegas, he had a better game than Connor did.
and that
Connor,
happens.
nothing was working for him last night. The puck just would not go for him. And Leon was an absolute bull last night.
And that's the difference. Like, that happens all the time, Bruce. It's not like, Connor gets lots, and look, rightfully so, Connor gets a lot of coverage. But
Yeah.
when a team can shut down his speed, or if they, you know what I mean? Like, if they can play Connor correctly, he has a tough time being effective offensively, right? Like, he has to really get creative, whereas Draisaitl can do it a few different ways, right? And so he can slow the game down. I've kind of compared him to like Kopitar on steroids at times because he can control the puck, he can cycle the puck, he's a great passer, he can score from different areas. Like, he just doesn't get enough respect, in my opinion, for what he does. But
Yeah. Well, I've always thought whether it's right or wrong. So Leon went to play when they had World Cup of Hockey.
yep,
Leon was on the world team with Kopitar and stuff and other players. His game improved drastically after spending that time with Kopitar.
yep.
After that, and then a lot of his game, like you said, looks a lot like Kopitar's. And I think that is, for me, I think that's where the light switch went on for the player he is right now. Because, like he made a reverse hit last night. That poor Vegas defenseman had no idea it was coming.
Yeah.
He was flat on his ass, and it was.
Well, and that's the thing I like too is he's a little nasty, or he can be, right?
Oh, when he's angry, he's not some. Yeah, he got angry a couple times last night, and it was because it got a little chippy at the end of closer to the end of the game there. So
I like the big German. I don't care what you say, John.
That's fine.
It was great to watch those guys play.
Probably no surprise. Top D man was Cale Makar at 64%. Best stick handler is still Patrick Kane, according to the players, at 46%. Connor McDavid was second, I believe, at 29%.
Patty just has silky mitts. That's all I got to say.
Yep, he sure does.
Yeah. Best passer was Leon Draisaitl, 25%, then followed by Patrick Kane at 13.
That pass he made to Hyman last night was, well, actually, I thought Hyman shot it and actually went off of Hyman and in, but it was still beautiful for the first goal.
And this didn't really surprise me, but I found it interesting that 30% of players voted Sidney Crosby as the most complete player still.
I'm not surprised. He still is.
Like, I love Sid, right? And he is. He can play in all three zones. He's fantastic. Bergeron got nearly 19% of the vote.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then for the best ice, it was the Bell Center, followed by Rogers Place in Edmonton and the Canada Life Center in Winnipeg.
Makes sense. Canadian rinks.
Yep. Okay, that'll do it for discussion. Before it gets too late, past John's bedtime, we better move on to our
I'm
ad
tired
read.
today.
As a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast is a proud partner of DraftKings. The biggest tournament in college basketball is underway, and the action is just getting started on DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, combine multiple bets for a shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings will be featuring parlays and odd boosts all tournament long, so be sure to check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day to see what they have in store. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with promo code THPN. Right now, new customers can bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And with that, guys, we're going to move on to our Edgework segment, starting with the NHL schedule in Week 25. The segment where we put in the work to give you the edge in your fantasy hockey leagues. And John wasn't even here to hear that, so son of a bitch. All right, it's another busy week in the NHL, though there is a bit more balanced day-to-day. So as expected, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday are your busiest days on the schedule. But the games are spread out a bit more, with Monday approaching a regular or 50% of action or teams in action type of day, and Sunday getting a rare 9-game slate. There are a total of 56 games on the schedule with just 3 light days. In terms of optimizing the schedule for games played, the Florida Panthers taking on Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, and Columbus, and the New York Islanders taking on the Devils, the Capitals, the Lightning, and the Hurricanes are the only teams next week to play 4 games, with half of them taking place on light days. Additionally, Arizona, Buffalo, Colorado, and Minnesota all play 2 of their 3 games on light days. Once again, this upcoming week, no team plays fewer than 3 games, so no distinct teams to avoid. According to Left Wing Lock's strength of schedule metric, the Calgary Flames have the most favorable schedule at -14. They take on LA, Vancouver, and Anaheim. I believe 2 of those are on light days, potentially later in the week or the start of the week. I don't remember. But the Nashville Predators and the Carolina Hurricanes have the toughest schedules with a +10 strength of schedule rating. It's also worth noting that Chicago, Nashville, San Jose, Tampa, and Vegas all play just 3 games, with 0 of them taking place on off nights or light days. Just a quick recap. Monday, 6 games. Tuesday, 10. Wednesday, 3. Thursday, 11. Friday, 4. Saturday, 13. And Sunday, 9. And with that, we'll move on to NHL Week 25 waiver wire targets, starting with Thomas Novak, who at the time of writing was 11% rostered. They've got 3 games on the upcoming schedule, and Bruce, as you had mentioned, all the mainstays in Nashville are dead. Don't know where they went. So that's leaving a lot of ice time for guys like Thomas Novak and Kevin Sherwood and Evangelista, these guys that just no one expect to put up points, and they're doing it. And what I found was interesting when I was looking into Novak, he's got 25 points and 10 goals in 22 games going back to January 19th.
That's nice. That's good. It's a good sign for them.
He's been great, and he's actually on pace for 68 points over 82 games.
If you're Nashville, you're happy about that.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Not something I'd expected, but this late in the season, I think he's almost a must-add if you have room for him, if you're looking for some depth scoring on your roster. His ish, Bruce, is at 18.7%. That's going to come down.
Nice.
I know it's a nice ish. His IPP is at 50, and his team's even strength shooting percentage is Tevish is at 4.2%. So Mike, it looks like there's maybe a little bit of room for some positive luck or some positive regression, despite him putting up the number of points he is.
Yeah, I like him as a near-term ad here.
Okay. This one's for you too, Mike. Joel Farabee, center left wing eligible for the Philadelphia Flyers, just 2% rostered. So here's a guy playing with Owen Tippett and Noah Cates, playing on the top line. I think he's getting power play one time as well, if I'm not mistaken. 7 points, 4 goals in his last 5. And his ish at 10.2 is actually below his 3-year and career averages. So, and his IPP's down from his last 2 seasons. The thing is, they don't score a ton of goals. I don't think the power play's that great, but he's kind of a freebie. It's low hanging fruit, 2% rostered.
Yeah, he's been pretty hot this past week or so.
Yeah,
but he was awful this season.
Well, it's garbage time, Mike. We need some points, so here you go.
Yeah. Have a short memory. Get rid of all the horror stories about Farabee doing nothing.
Well,
and then.
So what's your philosophy, Mike, this time of year? Does name value mean anything this late in the season? Like we're going into week 2 or week 3 of fantasy hockey playoffs. Do you care what the guy's name is?
No, I mean, and especially if it's a redraft league, anybody's droppable.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. I don't care who it is. I just want to win.
Absolutely. The thing I like about Farabee too is that they've got 4 games on the schedule this week. So they take on Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. Those are all, I think, juicy matchups. Yeah, so give him a look. The other guy here I was surprised to see he was this productive was Marcus Johansson in Minnesota, left wing, right wing eligible. And he's shown at times he can be productive. But right now he's playing with Eriksson Ek and Matthew Boldy. And he's getting time on the second power play. Yeah, so they've been great. I mean, 6 points, 1 goal in his last 5 games. They do have 2 games on light days to start the week. So if you're like me and you kind of like to optimize games played, and then if I grab a guy for 2 games, he plays on 2 light nights, and then drop him and try and do the same thing for the next 2 or 3 nights, and just optimize your week. He's a great option that way. Looking at the regression meter, his Tevish, IPP, and secondary assists per 60 all indicate that he's been unlucky. So, Mike, maybe some more positive results on the way.
Let's hope so.
Assuming that he maintains that deployment with those 2 players, because Boldy's been hot too.
Very.
Do you have him, Bruce? Is he on your roster?
No, I tried trading him for him, but no one would trade him to me.
Yeah. Kyle Palmieri out of the Islanders, 4% rostered. Again, 4 games on the schedule for them next week. It is a tough schedule, so they take on the Devils, the Capitals, Tampa Bay, and Carolina. But he is playing with Nelson and Engvall, and he's playing on power play 1. 10 points, 4 goals in his last 10 games played. So with his deployment, his line mates, I like all that stuff. Things I don't like so much, his 11.3 Tevish and his 13.4-ish. Braden Shen, so if you're in a league that counts, you've got bangers leagues or face-off leagues, he's generally pretty effective there. 2.1 hits per game in his last 10, 8 points, 2 goals in his last 7. They are getting absolutely slaughtered by LA right now. Last I checked, it was 5-1.
Eek.
I have Hofer in goal right now, so that is real ugly for me.
He got pulled.
Yeah, thank God. Mercy, Paul. Get him out of there. I'll be dropping him. I'll be dropping him tomorrow.
I was giving some advice to a guy throughout this entire week who was in a tough playoff matchup, and it basically came down to this Hofer start for him.
No way.
Oh, no.
That's rough.
It's over.
Well, 5 goals against, 12 saves, 17 total shots against.
Yeah, that's rough.
Bleak.
Yep.
Okay. Some other forwards to consider for the upcoming week. Quentin Byfield, I think he's been having some success on the top line for the Kings. Victor Arvidsson, who tonight already has at least 3 points. He's got a goal or maybe 2 goals and an assist, I think. Sammy Blais, Wyatt Johnston, who was on a pretty impressive goal-scoring streak there for a little while. Victor Olofsson, Kirby Dach, who we'd mentioned, he's got 3 points in his last 2 games played. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi has actually managed to maintain some relevance with his productivity. So keep those guys in mind. Moving on to defensemen, I've got Ryan Suter, who has 7 points and 2 goals in his last 9 games played. 3 games for them next week, but 2 of them are against Chicago and Arizona, so a nice option there. His shot volume's awful, Mike, because we had 1.1 shots on goal per game, so don't rely on this guy for shots. But if he's putting up points, I have no problem grabbing him for depth on D. Adam Boquist, 7% rostered, 4 games on the schedule for them next week. He's actually been playing with Eric Goodbranson, and they've been kind of bouncing between the top pairing and the second pairing. But he's locked up power play 1. He's got 4 points and 2 goals in his last 4 games. He's played 25-19 and 27-36 time on ice his last 2 contests. 2.6 shots on goal per game his last 5 games. And like I said, that 4-game schedule. So Adam Boquist actually looks interesting for the upcoming week. And then kind of returning, this is basically the Undertaker meme gif that you'd see online. Mackenzie Weegar. Or maybe like the old guy in the Walmart parking lot, call the ambulance, but not for me, right? That's kind of Mackenzie Weegar right now. 69% rostered, John, last I checked.
That is correct.
3 games on the upcoming schedule, but he's been putting up some points here of late. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I know that he has been pretty good offensively. They're still pushing for a playoff spot. Do we have any faith that the Calgary can take that last spot?
No.
They're not mathematically eliminated, though, are they, Mike?
They are not. I'm pulling up their numbers right now.
And I've got Uyghur's numbers here, so
We have Calgary going into Sunday at 13% chance of making the playoffs.
So you're telling Flames fans there's a chance. And then Uyghur's numbers here, 7 points, 3 goals in his last 6 games played. And shot volume's actually been good. 4 shots on goal his last 2 games. Tapered off before that, but okay.
Enough to get by.
Enough to get by, yeah. So give him a look. Some other defensemen I was looking at, Ryan Pulak, 4 points in his last 5 games played. Again, that 4-game schedule. Mike Matheson, 6 points in his last 6 games played. Getting plenty of time on the power play with Bruce's new favorite player, Nick Suzuki. And Damon Severson, who we talked about on the pod last week. And then moving on to goaltenders.
Skip that one.
I guess skip this one now. I mean, before tonight, I had Joel Hofer here, just 23% rostered, 4-game schedule for next week. His numbers were really good, guys. So 3-0-1 with a 1.74 and a 944 save percentage. My question was, can we hope that he takes over Binnington's job permanently? But after tonight, I'm saying that's probably not a realistic scenario.
5 goals, 1 period. Yeesh.
Yeah, it's not good. But I did think it was interesting that with Binnington back, they still started Hofer on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that eventually happens, but
yeah,
wait and see.
Okay. Well, so scratch that one. The other 2 goaltenders I had here were actually just the tandem in LA. So Korpisalo and Phoenix Copley, who they've been great. So 41% and 56% rostered. 4-game schedule for them next week. So they've got Calgary, Edmonton, Seattle, and Vancouver. They're basically splitting starts right down the middle. 6-1-1 with a 2.12 goals against average and a 929 save percentage in Korpisalo's last 8 games played, and that was before last night's games and tonight's game. Copley 7-1-2 with 2.10 goals against average and 917 save percentage going back to February 11th. And we've talked a couple times about how much of a shot suppression team LA is. They're very good at it, right, Mike? I think they're allowing something like 26 shots against per game.
Yeah, it's obscene.
Yeah, Todd McLaughlin knows what he's doing over there. He's a good coach. So, and that'll do it, guys. That's it. So there's definitely some other options in goal. Is there anyone else that you guys would be interested in for the upcoming week for netminders? I was just short on time this week, so If anything comes to mind, let me know. Spit it out. Okay. We can come back to that. But let's move on to weekly rankings. So as we do each week, we go through risers and fallers in our top 200 rankings. I'm going to pass this off to Mike, and maybe I'll scout some goaltenders for you guys while Mike's going through this.
Right on. All right, so our 3 risers of the week. We start out with John Tavares, Toronto. He jumps 21 spots to number 6 overall. Coming into Sunday's game, Tavares had 72 points in 71 games, including 7 points in his most recent 5 games. He followed it up today. He got 2 goals and 1 assist. And so now he's at 75 points. And during his last 4 games, he's generated 18 shots on goal. So Tavares he's hot just when you need him to be hot. And this is the perfect time.
No kidding.
Dylan Larkin is up next out of Detroit. He jumps 18 spots to number 16 overall. 4 points in his last 5 games. Larkin's been on kind of a steady path all season of point per game production. He averages over 3 shots per game and has 20.
What is going on over here?
Yeah, what did I miss?
Is Mike gonna make it?
I don't know. I don't know. just give him a second. Give him a second.
All right, so Larkin has over 3 shots per game and has 27 power play points this season in the 3.58 minutes of power play time per game. Our final riser, we mentioned him a little bit earlier on this podcast. He's ranked as the best defenseman in the league, according to the NHL's player poll. This is Cale Makar. He jumped 26 spots to number 18 overall. Heading into Sunday's game, the Colorado Blue Liner had bruised 12 points in the last 5 games, and 8 of those 12 points came on the power play. Makar has been a monster during these fantasy playoffs, and he's likely a major reason why some teams will advance into the semifinals. The crazy stat of the night is Cale Makar is averaging 0.54 power play points per game. To put that into perspective, that's 5th overall in the league. That rate is nearly 20% higher than the next closest defenseman on the league, in the league, and that's Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks.
Wow.
I wouldn't have guessed it was Quinn Hughes. That's interesting.
Just incredible power play production here.
Yeah.
All right, our fallers of the week. First up is a name you don't expect to be on the fallers list. Steven Stamkos. He drops 8 spots to number 45 overall. Although Stamkos has had kind of a reasonable level of production over his last 10 games, he's had 9 points. He has just 13 total points over the past month. And the big problem there is if you look at his shot production over the last month, he's averaging just 1.7 shots per game. That's all defensive eyes get very big.
That 1.7, that's awful.
Yeah, it's insane. And just for our listeners, if you're not familiar with his data, Stamkos averages 3 shots per game or more usually.
Wow.
So he's, even though the point production has still been there to some extent, he's just gone cold at the wrong time here as far as shots go.
Isn't that crazy? Because last year he led a lot of teams, well, my team included, to a championship.
Yeah.
He was so hot down the stretch last year, and then just, do you think, is he playing hurt probably? Like 1.7 shots on goal, it's like he's sick or dying or something. There's something wrong with Steven Stamkos.
Something's weird.
Yeah.
Next up is Pierre-Luc Dubois. He drops 18 spots to number 68 overall. He has just 4 points in his last 10 games, despite the fact that he was a point-per-game player before that stretch. He's also seen a bit of a drop in his shot production. He's down to 2.6 shots per game over that time period. And then our final faller of the week is Matt Zuccarello from Minnesota. He drops 27 spots to 81 overall. He has just 1 point in his last 5 games. And putting the cherry on the top of his poor week, Zuccarello finished things off by generating 0 points and 0 shots on goal against the lowly Chicago Blackhawks in Saturday's game.
Woof.
He lost his running buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, he's feeling the pain. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was go ahead because I was gonna go back to the goaltending thing, but
I'll just wrap this up real quick. We had several newcomers to the list this week, but the one we're going to focus real quick on is Toivo Teravainen, or however you say the guy's name, out of Carolina. So he debuts at number 180 overall on the list, and his point production hasn't been stellar. I mean, he put up 3 points over the last 5 games. But what has me excited about him, maybe down the stretch here, is that he's playing on the top line with Sebastian Aho.
nice.
He got Svechnikov's spot, basically.
Yeah, you got it.
Beautiful. Okay, well, thanks, Mike. As always, we appreciate the risers and fallers. I enjoy that segment. Just really quick, there's a couple things here surprising. So Carter Hart, 4-0-0 in his last 4 starts, 2.20 goals against, and a .933 save percentage. So Bruce, talking about Carter Hart, and potentially can still play goal. Maybe the Oilers should look at him. I don't know. Lucas Dostal out of Anaheim, 2-1-1 in his last 4 with a .911 save percentage. That's not too bad considering who he's playing for. And that's really all I got. There's really not much, to be honest, that I can see out there. Okay. Anything else, guys? Fantasy or hockey related you want to talk about before we sign off? Bueller?
I got nothing.
Okay.
I'm quiet this week.
Yeah, you sick? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You doing good?
Good.
Okay. You do good. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good. You look good. You look healthy. It's all good. Don't worry.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, as always, it was good to see you boys. Thanks for being here this week. If anyone wants more information, fantasy or hockey related, be sure to go check us out on Twitter at FHHacks. Be sure to check out Mike at left_wing_lock. I'm getting better at it, Mike. I'll get it. No problem. And of course, as always, go check out leftwinglock.com for all your fantasy hockey needs. Lots of fun tools there. We didn't even get through. I was going to look at some of the line change tools there, or line change adjustments that happened this week, but we didn't get there. So go check it out yourself. Bruce, John, Mike, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Bye, Felicia.
Take care.